All right, all right. Hey, welcome to My Vegas Live. We're here live in the studios right now with the amazing, I'm going to say, Mr. Las Vegas, the new Las Vegas,
Thanks
baby.
for having me,
Jeff
Mark.
Timmons,
I appreciate
98
it.
degrees, and so much more. We're gonna. All right, so let's start then. Let's get things started here with we got a bunch of areas to cover. Jeff, the 98 days. I want to talk a little bit about the family man you are now. Who knew? And the businessman. Wow, a lot of business going on in the behind that pretty face there, and then the vision of Vegas too.
Yep.
Now you've been in Vegas for 8 years. Is that right?
8 years, yeah, I love it. I came here to host the show and didn't have any intentions on moving here, of course. And I lived in California at the time, Southern California, Orange County area.
Okay.
Came to Vegas. I had some success with the show. They kept re-upping me. Then they moved me into a house to stay longer, and I just fell in love with the place. I fell in love with the whole culture. And look, I'm in LA every week. I'll be there next week. I'll be there the week after. But Vegas is now like my home, my second home.
And I want to talk about that, but first let's talk about the 98 days. All right, let's talk about there it goes, the 98 days. Let's get into that for a minute.
Sure.
I remember back in the day. My favorite song was "Come and Get It," and we talked about that a little bit. But I was amazed by the story you told me at lunch the other day. Just how it all came together. Let's start from the beginning.
Well, right. Listen, I was a singer all my life, but I didn't like it. I come from a really small town in Ohio called Massillon that's world renowned for their football program.
Okay.
And so, where I'm from, the small town, it's like Friday Night Lights. It's all about football.
Mm.
And, I kept falling into – played football and was all about it and played in college, small college, but and was trying to live that dream. But I was always kind of drawn towards music and the arts, and that stuff kind of came easy. And, one night I heard Boyz II Men on the radio, and I was like, man, who are these guys? I need to start a quartet like this. And I started a quartet at a party with some friends that I didn't even know if they sang. And it sounded good, and I was about to graduate. And much to my parents' dismay, I quit and started the group, drove to California, and tried to get discovered. Those guys.
How many were you in the first group?
There were 4 guys. Yeah,
Was
4
there a name
guys.
of that group?
That group was called Just Us. They were actually
Just
called
Us.
4 Tools in a Box first.
Okay.
But that
all
wasn't
right,
the best
all right.
name, and neither was Just Us.
All right.
And, ultimately we started singing our way around. One thing that's convenient about a 4-part harmony group is you don't need any instruments. So we would travel all around Northern California, Southern California. We walked on the Disney's lot and got backstage, and they would put us on a TV show, or we snuck on the Tonight Show and they put us on, and but just by using our voices, and that's what we did. Those guys ultimately got homesick, being from a small town. They quit. I stayed in LA. I'm like, I'm getting too much momentum. We're getting the vibes are too good. The feeling's too good. So I'm gonna stay. And I stayed and tried to cast in LA.
The 4 of you packed up and went to LA.
Yep.
But 3 went back.
3
if I
quit.
remember right.
And I was out there by myself. I got a job working security. I worked all the clubs. I was much bigger back then. I was doing all the clubs, the famous clubs, Whiskey, Roxy, Roxbury, the Viper Room. And I ended up getting a job working for Phil Collins's estate that was being built in Beverly Hills. He wasn't there, but I was, walking around this massive estate, warding off whatever criminals are coming to Beverly Hills, which are none. But that was my job, and ultimately I found guys that went to school with other guys from Ohio, and they introduced me. I heard Nick. They gave me a tape of Nick's voice. He was singing in a bar band. It was incredible, and I was like, I don't care what this guy looks like. Get him on the phone. And I got him on the phone. I'm like, I got all this stuff going on. We're doing stuff with James Brown, which we kind of were, and we, doing demos with Paul Lawrence, who's a famous producer in the '80s, and he drove out. He quit school and drove out, and then ultimately later on brought his brother out, and then one of his best friends, Justin, and that's how we got started. We got snuck backstage at Boyz II Men concert.
That was an amazing story too. But before we go to how you got discovered, all right. So you're working it. Was that in L.A. where the Boyz II Men came out?
That was in L.A. Yeah, North Hollywood. We were living in an empty apartment where we had no furniture, and they actually pulled a mattress out of the dumpster. Slept on a mattress. Drew and Nick slept on a mattress they pulled out of the dumpster.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We were broke. We sang for money.
Who knew?
We'd sing for money. We would enter talent contests. We would win, and then we'd take the money. We stole this tree. Now don't do that at home. I don't. We stole this tree from our apartment complex. This big palm tree, and it was going to be our money tree. And we put it in our living room in our apartment. And every time we'd win, we'd put the money on the money tree. Only it wouldn't last long because we'd take it off and then go buy beer with it. That night. So Nobody treat
Were
was
the
always
four of you
barren.
in one apartment?
4 of us in one apartment. Yeah,
No
we all
kidding.
slept on the floor. They slept on a mattress, and that was it.
4-part harmony, because my love for music, I get that. There's 4 parts sometime. What part was yours?
Well, I sang all the high stuff, all the girly stuff. So I did the falsetto stuff and first tenor stuff. Nick's
Really?
a tenor.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'd switch off leads. Drew is a true baritone.
Okay.
And then Justin's big time bass. Yeah, he's got like one of the deepest voices I've ever heard.
So that made the 4 parts. Amazing.
That's it.
So then now you're in LA, and tell me, replay that night again, where you're outside the fence.
Well, it was interesting because we didn't, we stayed up all night. And there was actually another guy in our group before Drew came out that actually he bought the tickets on his mom's credit card, and he was insisting we go. We stayed up. Nick and I stayed up watching boxing all night, drinking beer. So the next day we're thinking, man, we don't want to go. We're kind of hungover. We didn't want to go. And he's like, hey man, my mom bought these tickets for us. This is how we're gonna get discovered. And so we're like, all right, we'll go. So we went, and we were singing backstage, singing on the side of the stage. And of course, that's Boyz II Men's story. So the security guy is saying, oh man, this happens every city we go to. They're never gonna let you backstage. Give it up. And we kept singing anyway.
All right.
And a girl that worked for the radio station called The Beat in LA, it was an R&B station, popular one, came and saw us. She's like, oh, you guys are good. Why don't you come
remember
out,
this, yeah.
come backstage and sing on at our backstage barbecue on the air live? We were so nervous. And, we got Boyz II Men's walking around back there at sound check, and Montel's walking around hearing these guys we idolize. And Montel had a huge hit at this time, so we're like, oh, man.
Which was, this is how we do.
Yeah. This is how we do. That whole thing. So, and so, we went, we sang, and they were pretty interesting. The guy was like, look, we're going to make this like the Apollo back here. So if these guys are good, you know what to do. If they're not, get them out of here. So we were nervous. We pulled it off. They liked us. They said, hey, you come back afterwards. We'll introduce you to Boyz II Men. We'll introduce you to Montel. And we're like, great. And we left, and we didn't realize we didn't have any wristbands, passes, lanyards, anything to get back.
Oh my God.
So we watched the concert, and then we jumped over the fence to get back in after. And then we ended up meeting Montel's people, and they took us under their wing and ended up doing the demo for us. They ultimately got assigned to Motown.
Man.
It was cool.
How about that? So then, you're launched and things start taking off. So what was the first big thing that happened after that?
Well, we got signed to Motown. It was a very interesting experience for us because Motown's a predominantly urban label, black label historically, and so we were really one of the first white vocal group, if not the first white vocal group. They had a rock group called Rare Earth, and Bruce Willis was signed there. But as far as vocal groups, and they didn't really know how to market us. I mean, they actually wanted people to think we were an urban group, so they purposely did not put our pictures on any of the promo material that they sent to the radio stations, So they were trying to convince people that we were a black group.
Oh, okay.
And it backfired. The radio stations didn't like it. We'd show up to these urban stations. They would be like, that's not cool.
Like the movie Five Heartbeats.
That's right.
Where they
wanted them to be white.
The five of the horsemen.
That's right. That's right.
OMG.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it didn't work, and we had a hit record out. And here, nobody knew who we were because we didn't really have a video playing. We didn't have any materials. And then Backstreet Boys emerged, and we would walk into record stores, and here the Backstreet Boys have a music video, and here they have these big, huge displays, and we're like, this is how we're supposed to be doing this. So it was frustrating for us. And, look, everybody has those stories.
Right.
That they have those, the angst with the label. And we had probably the worst one. Because they really didn't know what to do with us. Then we had to regroup, and this would never happen today. So we had a hit record, but the album didn't sell. They regrouped. They brought a new president in. The guy actually was a movie producer. He produced New Jack City. His name was George Jackson. And George saw us, and he's like, "This is my Backstreet Boys. This is my NSYNC. We need to put these guys." Their faces on stuff, so people can see what they look like and what they're all about and show their image. And we went on TRL, and so it went from us driving our own Winnebago with our pictures on it, trying to get discovered, to we couldn't get out of our bus. The girls are literally rocking the bus 2 days later and can't get out of it. So it was pretty crazy.
What was the first hit, the big hit?
The first big hit was a song called "Invisible Man," which is probably the favorite single that I've had. Was that very first one? It was a well-written song.
Good song, yeah.
Great, talented writers. 2 guys from Canada, Sean and Dane. And to me, I have an affinity for it because we had heard it was passed to Boyz II Men and All for One, and those guys didn't want that song. On first listen, we're like, that's the deal right there. Give us that song. And when we recorded, it became a big hit.
Wow, wow. So then, what's some of the other hits for those that you don't remember?
Well, yeah, they're classics, so you have to go back into the archives,
Yes.
folks. But like "Because of You" is one that was a big hit for us. We were on top of the Golden Gate Bridge in that video. I was scared to death. I mean, wedding song, probably the most popular one worldwide, is called "I Do Cherish You." And then "Hardest Things," another one, which was a great one. That was written by Steve Kipner and David Frank. They did like a lot of Chicago stuff and Olivia Newton-John stuff and Christina Aguilera stuff, and we had "True to Your Heart" was another one. "My Everything" was a big one.
Did you get to meet the writers?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, we did. Look, as a new group, you battle to write. You have a studio.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what it's like to write.
Right.
We have passion. We have a lot of passion for writing, but they wouldn't give us a chance. They're like, oh, you guys are artists. You don't know what you're doing.
Wow.
So we're gonna give you a list of. We're gonna give you song after song after song, and you pick them. So we picked our songs. We didn't write them.
Now, who is that? Who's we?
The group. So the
I
group.
mean, your producers?
So no, the group would pick the songs.
But who
we had an
presented them to
A&R. An A&R would present them to us. So
Okay.
this is back when they gave us tapes and
Oh,
CDs.
yeah.
So tapes.
All right, all right.
Tapes. They put them in a tape machine.
what's
You
a
press
tape?
play. Yeah, exactly.
What's a tape?
Streaming didn't exist, but we would go through boxes of tapes and we were like, oh man, that's a good one. Let's record that one.
Hey, at what point of your career back then were you like, oh my God, we made it. We're on the big time.
I think there are a bunch of times when you go through it, it just keeps. And the more success you have, the more
The call your mom one,
Well, I think that when we got signed, I mean, that was like a dream. Where we were signed to Motown, that felt real. When we heard the song "Invisible Man," I was in LA. And we were going to do a gig, and I heard the song on the radio and just freaked out. Pulled my car over, turned it up. That whole geeky, silly stuff.
Man.
And then we got kept ratcheting up. I mean, we got to perform for Billy Joel at the American Music Awards. We did a song with Mariah Carey that went #1. We did a song with Stevie Wonder for a Disney soundtrack. I mean, it was like a dream come true. I mean, so all of those things, you're like, man, we're performing for Michael Jackson at his special, celebrating his life with Usher and Luther Vandross. So, I mean, every time you're like, wow, I would get so
Surreal.
nervous. I mean, I can't tell you. I'd be like, oh man, I got to pull it together. This is crazy. And then you get out there and you just do it.
Wow.
But it never gets old, and it never gets. You never get sort of numb to it. It's always. I mean, it depends. I guess some people are different.
Good stuff.
But I loved it.
Now those were the what was those years? You said I think 97 to 2001 or
Yeah,
two?
yeah. Like that little 5-year span was a pretty big stretch for us.
And then but then things started. Your life chapters. I think life is all about chapters. We go through chapters of our life, and just like a lifelong musician might have chapters of his music career too. Sometimes you can see where it's kind of changed over the years. He's into this kind of music and that kind of music and whatnot. People change, and so you've had a new chapter come into your life, and I put down here Jeff, the Family Man.
The Family Man.
So let's talk a little bit about the Family Man. Let's talk a little bit about that. So when did you build a family?
Well, look, I had a girlfriend when we were on the road, and she got pregnant before we got married. So then, right before I got off the road, we had a baby. She got pregnant again. I got off the road. I literally was on the road, had a day off, flew her to Vegas, got married, got on a plane, and went back on the road. So
you got married in Vegas.
That's right. I got married in Vegas twice.
Twice.
Yeah, and it's not going to be any more after that.
You contributed to our economy.
I've
the
given
wedding
Elvis
business.
at the chapel my money too many times.
Two tuxedos.
Yeah, that's it. So I came in, got married. We had a little family. Unfortunately, we were both young at the time. It didn't work out. We got divorced. Ended up, doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff, producing records for other people. Doing some TV stuff, getting into production. I love to be in the studio. That's my favorite thing. I do all this other stuff.
We talked about that.
So I can get in the studio.
We're gonna get in the studio.
I would love it. I would
can't
love
wait
it.
for that.
Yeah, I mean, I geek out on it. It's my deal. So
you have it all set up at your
I
house.
have all the Pro Tools, Logic, Studio One, keyboards.
You'll have to invite
everything.
me over to see your studio, and probably gonna help me with my studio.
Would love it. I mean, my whole thing is I produce everything. I like to engineer it, so I'll go in there and take some takes and tweak your vocals forever.
Okay, you don't mind?
You'll
giving
be
me some
happy.
tips?
No, you'll be happy
We
with
can mess
it.
around in
You
studio
probably
one
sound great, but I'll go in there and mess with it.
I
till it sounds
love
perfect.
in studio till 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I usually do it every night if I'm home. After my kids and my wife go to bed, I'll go from 12 at night till about 6 in the morning every night.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and then I'll go sleep for
look
2
at it-
hours and get up and go.
I was trying to tell a friend of mine the other day. I said it's kind of like teenagers on video games.
Yeah.
It's my video game. And I can start at 8 o'clock at night, and the next night is
That's right. The time flies by.
2 in the morning.
Yeah,
I got to get to bed.
That means you're doing what you love. You know what I mean? When it flies by,
Yeah.
like, damn, I gotta go. I gotta take the kids to school.
It just goes so fast.
Yeah.
So fast. And now, speaking fast and furious, if you will. So back to the family. So you have 2 kids.
I had 2 kids from my previous marriage, and they ended up coming and living with me, both of them in Vegas.
Boys, girls?
A girl, older girl, a younger boy.
Okay.
And I got remarried. I met a beautiful woman that was fantastic, and I never planned. I had such a treacherous go around the first time. I'm like, I'm not dating anymore. I'm never getting married again. I'm just gonna have girlfriends. You know what I mean?
Just her first name.
Her name's Amanda.
Your wife.
Yeah.
So Amanda, if you're watching this, let me tell you, at lunch the other day, he couldn't say enough great things about you. I ain't kidding. I mean, he was just like, wow.
That's right. I'll give you that $50 later. Hi, honey.
Yeah, all right. But seriously, so if you don't mind, you said that she's everything. She's like, she's your support. Carry on a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm really into the success stories and into the reading The Secret and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. One of his elements that I used to listen to. I used to listen to the audiobooks and read the books religiously, and one of them was behind every good man is a good woman. I was like, I don't think you need that. I have done a complete about face on it.
Okay.
Because I feel like my wife completely changed my life. I was struggling. I had gone through, like I said, a bad divorce and spent a lot of time fighting for custody of my kids, and had really no career because music had changed, and I was really just doing behind the scenes stuff. She was like, you need to get up. You're a rock star. Clean yourself up. Get your stuff back out there. Get your group back together. Go host some stuff. Get your music out there. And she was my biggest cheerleader, and she does everything else. I mean, she takes care of everything at home. She, takes care of all the bills and does all that stuff for me, and keeps the book straight, and she picks my clothes out for me, all that stuff. She does? Oh. Does everything, man. She's great. So, what she does allow me to do is go create. Go work. If she lets me go create, I can go do this. I can have, I provide our family with a good lifestyle. And so we're a good team.
And you guys have been married how long now?
We've been married 8 years.
8 years now. Okay. So, and you got to Vegas 8 years ago.
Yeah. So we had just gotten married and came here. So, yeah.
All right. So you married her in Vegas?
Yep. I married her at a courthouse in Orange County.
Okay.
And then we got remarried here in Vegas.
All right. Made it official in Vegas.
Yeah, we did like some fun thing.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Now you have so you've got your oldest daughter, and then you've got a son of that from the first, and then now you have you said you got a house full right now.
Yeah, and she had 2 boys.
Oh, right? She's got 2 boys.
And they're like my sons.
Awesome.
And then we have
How
a
old
little
are they?
girl together. So it goes 18 hers.
Okay.
It goes 20 mine girl.
Yeah.
18 hers boy. 17 mine boy. 13 almost 13. He'll be 13 the 18th. Hers.
Okay.
And then we have a daughter. Ariana's 7.
The 2 of you.
Yeah, the 2 of us. So it's like 2 of the kids are off to college, and then we have the other 3 there.
So they're probably all amazing. But tell me about Ariana. She just like bubbles over her daddy.
Yeah,
Is she daddy's girl or mama's girl?
she rules my life. So and she's the youngest one and a girl. So they've all been spoiled, but they're all great kids. But she's a little rock star. She's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, any of them want to sing?
She does. I mean,
she does.
My oldest daughter also sings, but she's shy. And here's the thing: it's this business. It's hard, and you have to have a love for it. And I've never encouraged them, pushed them to do anything they didn't want to do. But at the same time, if they want to do it, I'm here to lend my support and experience to make sure they don't make some of the same mistakes that I made, and they can avoid some of those those low lows that go along with the high highs.
Got it. Now you picked Vegas 8 years ago. Why Vegas?
Well, I love it. I came here to host a show, and reluctantly, I was.
Oh, for those that I don't know if we caught that up yet.
That's right.
Host what show?
The Chippendales. So I was like, man.
Was that 8 years ago?
That was 8
already?
years ago. Yeah, 8 years ago in May.
If you haven't been to Chippendales in the last 10 years, 8 years ago, Jeff was brought in to host the show.
I was brought in to host it, and a former manager of mine that's the PR there, great guy, Michael Caprio. Had been telling me, "Oh, you got to host the Chippendales. You'll love it. You'll love it." And I'm like, "Oh man, I'm not a stripper, man. People are gonna really think I've really gone to the bottom of the barrel."
Oh my God.
So I my wife was like, "Look, go do it. It's a real show. You're not stripping and doing lap dances with girls." I'm like, "I'm not going." No, I know I didn't say that. But she said it's a real produced show.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. I went and checked it out. I'm like, oh, these guys sing. They have choreographed dancing. And by the way, I'm not taking my clothes off. They have like some gimmicky part where you rip your shirt off once. And I did not do it with those guys on the stage.
All right.
Because there would be a disparity
record.
in what everybody looks like. But, it did motivate me to get back in shape. So I lost like 30 pounds just to be on stage with those guys. So I hosted it, did the 98 degree stuff, did some original stuff. And what happened was all those fans that were like, we even had preteen fans. We did a lot of stuff with Disney, Nickelodeon.
Sure.
They all showed up. They're all in their 20s and 30s and drinking. And, just the marriage of boy band songs and guys ripping their clothes off was like a culmination for success.
I think some of those preteens now work here at the office.
They're younger than I think our traditional fan base. But
we're going to do in the magazine, we're going to do staff's favorite 98 degree song.
Oh, good. Well, do your research. Google it. Even if you don't know them, look them up.
You got to pick one.
Yeah.
So then Chippendales got you to Vegas, and at that time you were just getting married, and everything was like
new.
So wow, what'd you do? What was the years before that between the 2001 to the 8 years ago?
Well, I did some solo stuff, but look, the climate had changed and technology was changing. So look, the boy band era was definitely over, and I couldn't even get labels to listen to my music.
Really?
I couldn't even get them to open the door.
Wow.
So, I put out some stuff independently, but really just started getting in the studio and producing stuff for music for TV, anything that I could do that I didn't have to be on the road because I was sharing custody and going through all that. I could be home and be a dad.
Got it.
So I was trying to create a lifestyle that enabled me to continue to do music. And I did appearances and I went overseas a couple of times. But it was really just about that whole 8 to 10 year block was about being a dad. And making sure I could be there and have some stability.
Nice.
And it was hard. And ultimately, like we talked about, it turned around and I started getting back into the mix and getting back into what I really craved, which is doing the music and getting back out there and doing some touring and creating. And but that's what I was doing. It was just a hustle. Just trying to stay above board, making sure I could go to the court dates and all that kind of wild stuff.
Where was all that at?
That was in L.A. It was in Orange County. Yeah, Orange County.
So then you got the call for Chips and you came out?
I got the call for Chips. I got married and got the call for Chips, and my wife said, "Go do it." What it'll do is the press will get a hold of it, and
have a heyday.
And they'll have a heyday. And I'm like, I don't know if that's good. She goes, "No, it'll be good. You'll be on the map again, and it just might make your group get back together." And I think that we were all doing stuff, and that we felt like that was the time to get back together, and we did. And we've been doing stuff ever since 2013. So
now those guys, the rest of them are where are they living?
2 of the guys live in Cincinnati, where the other 3 guys are originally from. So Drew and Justin live in Cincinnati, and Nick lives in L.A.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys talk a lot?
Oh yeah, we're like brothers. I mean, the
sure.
stuff that we've been through together is nobody could ever understand it. And look, we love each other like brothers. We got on each other's nerves like brothers. We're also businessmen together. And usually, you don't have that sort of relationship. Your family is separate. You don't usually do business. Some people do, and you don't don't live with.
It's
your
like a second family.
Yeah,
it's like your other family, your career family.
They really are. And if I needed anything ever, I could pick up the phone and call any of those guys, and they would be right there for me.
Yeah. We call that your 2 a.m., your 3 a.m. friends.
That's it. That's it.
I call you 3 a.m. and there they are.
I need to talk to you about this.
Amazing.
They're right there. Doesn't matter.
So then now that takes me into Chips brought you out here to Vegas. You're getting settled in. You got your new wife, your new beautiful family going on, and then. How long did Chips go?
They re-upped me 3 times, I think. Look, it sold out the whole time, and then they brought me back for more, and then they moved me into a house over the summer, and they're like, just keep going. And really what I did, I was really trying to really blow it up. I was about to bring reality television to the Chips. I had someone at the CW network that wanted to do a reality show, and then I started saying, hey, look, I want to blow this up to the next level. I'm getting like Ryan Seacrest to talk about it. I have potential giveaways with all these major pop stations, really make it mainstream. And this is pre-Magic Mike. So every time I'm talking about it with people, it's sort of taboo still, strangely. Right? Until Channing Tatum puts his name on it, it's a big movie, it makes $1 billion. Now it's like, oh, cool, ladies' night. But I had some struggles with the mainstream stuff, but they were also embracing it. And really what I wanted to do is I wanted to be a bigger part of what the Chips was. I wanted to launch it worldwide. I wanted to create satellite troops, and I wanted to bring reality television to it. So I wanted to get some equity in the brand, and they were like, "We don't need you, bye." They told me that they were great. But then I went and created Men of the Strip. I created a more modern version.
That's where I want to go next now, and that is so that took you on to Vegas is a great town for business,
Right.
And I just cannot believe the business climate here is phenomenal, and I think everybody sooner or later gets the bug for business.
Right.
In this town now. We talked at lunch. We're going to talk a little bit about not the business side of Jeff.
Never gets old, huh?
And I'm dying to hear about. So, when I saw on your when I saw some of your accolades underneath your name on social media, I'm like, whoa, this guy's a businessman.
Trying. Yeah.
So tell me what's going on there.
We have to, because the music business is unstable, so you have to do as much as you can.
I couldn't keep up with all of it, so we'll just take one at a time. Sure. So what are these business ventures you put out there and you tried, and which ones have worked and didn't work? And go ahead and give us some insight.
The ones that did, I mean, one of them was Men of the Strip, which was our version of a male review, a little more modern, more like intricate dancing, singing. Sleeker, more polished type of show. Not to take away from the Chippendales or Thunder or any of those shows, but we wanted to make a more mainstream pop version of that. We did that. We successfully toured them 42 cities in 49 days.
Wow.
Yeah, they crushed it. And it started off, nobody was in the audience, and by the end of it, virally, it blew up to where we were selling 3,500 tickets.
Were you in the show?
I was in the show as a host and a singer.
Okay.
I obviously didn't do what they do. Those guys are specialized and better looking and younger and better dancers. So, but it worked. And then we all after that, it parlayed itself into a docu-movie on the E! Network, which we landed, and I co-produced that. It was okay. It was my first hand at producing. I didn't really have a lot of creative control on that, but nonetheless, good experience. And then created a TV show called Droned, which is about those drones that fly in the air.
Right.
That was on Discovery Science Channel.
What was the name of that show?
Droned.
Oh, it was just Droned.
Droned,
okay.
yeah. And I did that with a good friend of mine that I've known for years named Eric Recker, who produced Chris Angel Mind Freak. So we produced that one together. That's syndicated in like 90 countries now. So that was a good success story. It's I think it's on Ovation now. I bounced over after one season to Ovation.
Okay.
And then, I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I have an out-of-home advertising business that's about to launch with screens and retail outlets, highly trafficked.
Oh, we talked a little bit about that. You were asking like advertising.
Advertising, right. Well, it's advertising, but it's really a way to push out your creative message too.
Wow.
While people are standing in line, they can't click out or swipe away from something. They got to stand there and watch whatever commercial you put on there. So.
Is that a big one of your business moneymakers? You got?
Well, that's going to ultimately make more money than any of this stuff. I mean,
wow.
It's the most boring, but it's the most lucrative. You know what I mean? So, that's to do for a number of reasons. To give you the financial stability and continue that to be more creative and take time with projects and make sure that I want them all to be good.
Is that a solo business you're getting into?
That's a business that I have with three other partners that have had success in this area. Two of the guys created a 7-Eleven TV, which was a very prolific brand years ago. That 7-Eleven had these screens in their stores, and it was actually the fourth most watched network. So it was behind ABC, CBS, and NBC, and before Fox. Wow. 7-Eleven TV. But they got out. They sold their portion. Okay. That went away. Their non-compete is over, so I brought them on board, and we're set to launch here in August, and several hundred to several thousand stores. Yeah. So.
Wow. Okay.
So and that'll be great to sell ads, of course, and that brings. That's what. All the entertainment is driven by ad revenue, so we're going to be doing that. But also, if there's a show that I'm producing or there's some music out, we can run the videos on there and let people know where they can tune in or grab some of the music or TV shows or movies.
Wow. All right. Any other business ventures going on right now?
Right. Well,
or is that the big one?
I've started a promotional business where I'm starting to bring acts to India. I had a great experience there last year, so I'm bringing American acts to India.
Really?
Yeah. Hopefully, the first one we'll be doing is in late October, early November, after their monsoon season's over. Talking to some really big acts. I can't say who they are yet. Okay. But they're definitely recognizable acts. I had such a great experience there that I just want people to go experience the culture. It was a game changer for me. Trying to get some of my friends over there and getting into films. I'm putting together a film fund. About to go to Dallas in 2 weeks to raise money for that. Start funding some pretty big films. Wow. Or at least participating in them. And
so it doesn't stop?
No, it doesn't.
You're like a machine.
Well, I mean, I like to work and be creative, and there's so many things that I want to do that I had stalled for that little block of 10 years that I didn't get to do, which was great. I still got to be home with my family, but my kids are all old enough now. My wife is so great. I can go out and live the dream and create all this stuff and have fun and just keep going.
Now, with the creative side of you, I guess there's like, I'm not into the sign thing, but there's a couple of signs that are more creative than others.
Right.
When's your birthday or whatever your sign? Or whatever?
Taurus, yeah.
Taurus, the bull.
Yeah, the bull, yeah.
Is that true? Are you stubborn as a bull?
No, I don't think I am. No, I think I'm passionate. I don't think I'm stubborn. I think I'm definitely different than I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Okay.
You grow up, but no, I like to keep an open mind, and I think that one of the reasons I've been able to enjoy success is that I can spot success. And that I'm open to successful people's ideas. Okay. And it's not my way or the highway. One of my idols is Quincy Jones, and I've read his big book, and all he does is talk about what he's really good at. He's good at a lot of stuff. Yeah. But he said what he was really good at is putting good people together. And so I think that it's really important to listen to other people's objective opinions and be open-minded and not cut off your nose.
Your mastermind group.
Yeah, I think so. That's right. That's getting back to the Napoleon Hill stuff. The mastermind group. I mean, it seems like common sense. You're putting a bunch of brilliant, successful people in one place to create something.
Think You Grow Rich, 13 chapters.
13 chapters.
Do you have a favorite?
No. I mean, I like all of them. I love when he goes back and talks about, when he was talking to Rockefeller and all these guys that put him up to the task. And another good one that I read all the time is Master Key System, which is amazing.
Is that one of his also?
That's Charles Hannell,
okay.
And that predated Napoleon Hill's book.
Good. So mine is chapter 3, Desire.
I love it. All those are great.
Without desire, there's nothing there.
That's right. You have to have Napoleon Hill calls it a definite purpose.
Definite purpose.
Yeah.
What was your? Let's talk about for a second. What was your? If you had one, have you ever had what was like a life-changing moment for you in your life?
I think the life-changing moment. I've had a few. The first one was in college when we were at a party and just started singing for these girls. Okay. Trying to impress them, and it sounded good. And I literally was going to graduate, and I was like, I quit that night. I'm like, this is going to be amazing. I mean, some people would say it's crazy. My parents certainly didn't believe me. I called them up. The phone was plugged into the wall at that time. It's like this.
Right. Yeah. Had a cord.
They're like, enough with the old man joke. So I got on the phone, and I was like, Mom, I'm done. I'm going to be a singer. I got a group. I'm going to go to LA. She's like, okay, honey. Yeah, okay. How much beer have you had today? And I was like, no, I just had I had such a strong feeling about it. It wasn't just the reaction we got from the girls and stuff like that, like traditionally college guys would go crazy for it. But it was the way it sounded. And I had been in a number of different groups, like barbershop quartets and choir chambers and stuff like that. And there was something special about the way it sounded. And I was like, I got to get to LA. This is as good as All for One. This is who had just emerged. This is, I don't know if it's as good as Boyz II Men because those guys are amazing. But I was like, this is as good as anything out there. Right. And these guys were all good-looking guys. The other guys were good-looking guys, full of charisma.
Yeah, and you can feel it. You can feel it. You can hear it, and you can feel it. You go like, wow, it's a magical feeling.
Yeah, it's something special that you can't really put your finger on exactly what it is. But I was like, I had such a strong vision of it. It's really hard to explain. That I was all about it every day after that. I went and bought a keyboard. I don't know how to play, but I wrote numbers on the keys, and that's how I would part out all the harmonies and listen. I'd break down all the music and say, all right, you're singing 3 with a circle, which is black key, which is a D or something on the key. But and we just parted out stuff, and then we started going around singing every place, and people would just give us stuff. Here's some money. Here's some food. Here's some beer, like it was just, I was like, okay, this is working. Went to California. My dad got transferred to Northern California. We drove up, lived with them, my dad and mom, for a while, and just went all over the towns, the small towns there, like Danville, Martinez, all the Bay Area places, Concord, Walnut Creek, and we would go restaurant to restaurant to restaurant to restaurant singing, and people would just give us, some guy, here's $300, go do this. Or awesome. It was crazy, yeah. So
I think going back even more years than that, I think I heard stories about MC Hammer running around up and down California. They go selling CDs out of the back of his truck.
That's right. He did these
just to get it going.
He did. He was like a bat boy for the Oakland A's when he was a little kid.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we met Hammer a couple times. He's an inspiration. He's back on the road. I know his agents really well, and I had talked to them about some of the people that are on that package, which is interesting. Many years later, I would have never imagined that when I was in high school and working out in the gym in Can't Touch This is on the radio.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be, working with some of these guys.
Break it down. What about what about your mom and dad? Are they still back Midwest?
They're in Southern California
They're
now.
SoCal now.
Yeah, we wore out our welcome pretty fast when we were there in their like rec room or whatever.
Okay.
We actually had like this little place in the garage, like this little secret storage place, and that's where we would camp out, and nobody had any jobs, and we're just basically going all around town all day long, eating and drinking and singing. And my mom's like, this has to go somewhere.
Sooner or later.
And what happened was there was a guy that was working with James Brown, his saxophone player, Roy Harper, and he videoed us and sent it to his brother, who was James Brown's road manager.
Okay.
And it was a VHS tape of us singing a cappella.
Would that be in Atlanta?
He was in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
He was actually I think he was in Augusta, maybe.
Yeah.
And he heard it and he was like, and these guys had a bunch of different acts that they were kind of quasi trying to produce, and he wanted us to go to LA and meet a friend of his who was managing Michael Jackson at the time, Anise Parker, and she was with Gallen and Maury Management. And the trip got canceled a couple times. He was like, we're gonna go meet Michael Jackson's manager. It got canceled, and then what happened was she offered to meet with us. We drove down. My brother was an actor in California, trying to act, and had an apartment with the guy and I ended up producing Drone with that did Chris Angel. He was an actor too, living with my brother. And we went and just basically squatted. We never left. We squatted in his apartment and drove him nuts to where he kicked us out. And then, we just stayed. We stayed in LA. And again, those guys quit, but I just stayed.
Cool. What about your kin? You got a brother? What else you got?
I have a brother, older brother, younger sister.
Okay.
My brother and I are about to produce a game show on TV.
Okay.
So he's in the creative space. He's on the writing side of things now.
He's in LA.
Yeah, he's in Pasadena. Super great guy. We're very, very close.
And he's older.
Yeah, he's older. Yeah.
And a younger sister.
And a younger sister.
What's she doing?
She lives in Temecula. She's a housewife. She takes care of her kids and is a nurse.
How did your brother and sister feel like through the 98 days? They're like, I can't believe it. My brother's made it.
I think they were very supportive of it.
Yeah.
It was interesting because I was gone all of a sudden forever.
Oh, yeah.
I was gone for like 5 years straight, so they hadn't seen me, other than coming to a couple shows and maybe some holidays here and there. I was pretty much not available. I was gone. So that probably was pretty weird.
Wow. Is it true they say like all of a sudden you have cousins everywhere as soon as you make it?
Oh, I can tell you all about
family.
it. Yeah, I had people there. Hey, Jeff, your cousin's here. Or there was an unauthorized 98 Degrees bio video going around, and this cousin of mine, he's interviewed the whole time. I don't know how much money he made from that thing. I'm like, I think I've met this guy like twice, and he's talking about, well, Jeff has always done this. I'm like, I don't even know this guy.
God.
It's like, but that kind of stuff was funny, and you'd have relatives, and I definitely have a treasure trove of crazy stories with fans and stuff that people would do that was just bananas.
Funny stuff. Then on that note, I wanted to ask also. So now you're here in Vegas. It's 8 years into it. You got business things going on, ventures. It sounds like a few different partnerships going on, and got your eyes open for whatever's smart. It sounds like you seem like a really smart guy.
Thanks. Well, I hope so. I try to learn. I try to learn as much as I can. I think that, look, life is short. You know that, and I think you got to utilize things you're given, opportunities you have, and gifts that you have. And I feel like that, I should always be at least getting better, a little bit better every day. I mean, and that might be an OCD thing or
better
something.
version of yourself.
That's right. I mean, you're either getting better or you're getting worse, right? You know that saying. So I try not to let a day go by where I don't enhance something. Or get better in some way, and it's just like an obsessive thing. I certainly don't expect it out of anybody I know or my kids or my wife, but it's a perfectionism kind of thing. And so you try to get better, try to be creative. I don't like to go to sleep until I'm exhausted. I mean, that's just the rule,
We talked a little bit at our lunch last week about your vision of Vegas. You said I'd like to elaborate on that. He was talking a little bit about to me. You were talking to me a little bit about the fact that you'd like to see the vision of Vegas change.
Yeah.
So tell me in your opinion, what you think it is now, and where you'd like to see it, or what you think it should deserve, and where it should go.
I think it's even evolved since I first got here 8 years ago. So look, obviously the mystique of Vegas is the what happens in Vegas. It's the party town. You blow it out. The debauchery, and you can only stay for 2 days because you're dead tired. But there are other parts of Vegas that are great. The economy is great here. Like you said, there are lots of business here. There are beautiful parts of Vegas outside of the Strip. Not that we don't love the Strip, right? But you've got Lake Mead, you've got Red Rock, you've got hiking, you've got great restaurants outside of the Strip. It's multicultural. It is a transient town, but one of the preconceived notions about Vegas is that there isn't a sense of community, and certainly the Golden Knights coming and when they did, and giving back to the community after the tragedy that happened, brought everybody together.
Yes.
And I think that it's just a great place to be. The weather's great. The traffic's not bad. I mean, one of the reasons I left LA is the traffic's horrible. It drove me crazy. But there are just a lot of positives about it, and I think on the entertainment art side of things, Vegas is always, okay, you're going to Vegas, your career's over. This is where artists and entertainers go to die. It was always that sort of idea surrounding Vegas. That's when your career's over, when you're not hot anymore, when you can't tour on your own, when you can't get in movies, you go to a residency. That's not true. I mean, I got here and I was treated like a king. The hotels were amazing. Caesars was incredible. The Chippendales were great to me. They treated me first class. They pay well, and you don't got to go on the road. People come in every week from all over the world, all over the country.
They come here for the entertainment.
The tour comes to you, and I was like, man, I wrote a column for somebody in the local paper. I said, when my colleagues, when my peers in the entertainment industry find out about this, they're all going to be here. And sure enough, then comes Britney, then comes J-Lo, then comes all these guys, and you see why Backstreet Boys isn't going anywhere. They're going on a tour, but they love being in Vegas. I mean, I can tell you that.
Celine Dion, I guess, is wrapping up. She's been here for 10 years?
She's been here forever, yeah.
And so I guess she's wrapping up this June or July.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be surprised if at Caesars if JT walks in one day and says,
I wouldn't doubt it. 100%. I mean, he's doing a tour right now, and I'm sure it's exhausting. I mean, look, what happens is you commit to doing these things with these big companies, and you get these advances, and you got to go back on the road. I mean, and so if there's a way to stay in one place, and it's Vegas where you can do stuff all the time.
And get in and out easy.
And get in and out easy, right? You can go back to LA. It's a 45-minute flight, 3.5-hour drive if you drive fast. I mean, I have a lot of affinity for Vegas.
Well, I was really impressed how, when I first met you hit me on social media and said, I guess tag me, and I'm like, is this really the Jeff Timmons? It is Jeff Timmons.
Yeah.
I said, what's up?
It's LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn has created a lot of opportunity for me. It's the best. It's my favorite social media. Now, the other ones are necessary for what we do, right? Entertainers, you got to promote, and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all. And those are great. I mean, I could do without them if I wasn't an entertainer, or I would do without them. But they're necessary for me to promote shows and gigs and things I've got coming out, music and TV.
Does your wife manage all your social media?
I do it. We do our own. She helps me. She helps me with it. She'll tell me I'm posting too much. Don't post 5 times a day. You're gonna lose fans. So she knows all the algorithms and what times to post and all this other stuff. But I mean, I try to keep active with it, and we've always been very, very in touch with our fans.
Is she a little analytical?
She is. She has a medical degree, so she's got both. She uses both sides of her brain. Very smart.
Both sides.
Yeah.
I only use one side of mine.
Well, I'm lucky to use a portion of one side.
So I guess you knew of My Vegas. How did you know of My Vegas before?
Well, look, it's important to know all the publications here. I mean, you've got the other magazines, right? And you've got My Vegas, and you've got Neon, and all those, and those are those are the trade magazines for the city. So I was very familiar with it.
Oh, very cool.
And I've been fortunate enough to be in some of the other ones, and I'm gracious that you asked me to be a part of this one. It's an honor.
I'm glad to have you too. So
Thank
Jeff.
you.
Now, what's next for Jeff Timmons?
Well, I have a boy band tribute group called Overnight that I put together of these amazing guys that do all the pop music from all the boy bands, from Backstreet Boys. They're touring all over the country. So we just started them, launched them. They came to the Orleans. They had a great show here. They were kind enough to have us there.
And they're called what?
They're called Overnight.
Overnight.
They named themselves. I put them together, and they're like, let us come up with our own name. So I came up with the name OMG. I thought that was so cool. They're like, that is the least coolest thing ever. Stop with the hashtags and all that. You're not cool. So they're like, they wanted to say, well, we're going to call ourselves Overnight because we're going to become an overnight success. They're very confident guys. Picked them out of thousands of auditions. It was really hard to find 4 guys. I wanted to find 5. I could only find 4.
Really? Yeah. 5-part harmony.
And to me, it was important. The most important, look, there were tons of guys that can sing, tons of good-looking guys, tons of guys that can dance, but not tons of guys with the right personality. I had to get them on the phone. Once I got them on the phone, it was a yay or nay really quick for me.
Wow.
And so these guys have great attitudes, great work ethic. They can all dance. They can all sing lead. They can all harmonize. And the goal is to go put them around the country. Do it. We're going to reverse engineer it according to what goes on today, where everybody just throws everything on YouTube or SoundCloud or Spotify. We're going to go utilize the fan bases that exist at these casinos, their marketing, and blow these guys up, letting them see that they can sing everybody from Bieber to Timberlake to Boyz II Men. And then they can create a groundswell of a fan base for them, and then they can put out their own music later, original stuff. So that's the plan for those guys. Amazing guys.
That's awesome. Now, that's so that's producing.
That's producing, yeah.
So producing now, as you and I both know, old artists never die. They just go into producing.
That's right. You switch back and forth, yeah.
Let's take Usher, for example.
Yeah.
He's like responsible for Bieber's fame.
That's right.
And he produced him, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He did. He signed him. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think he actually went to Justin Timberlake, and Justin turned him down.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that's true, but I heard that. But, yeah, Usher took him under his wing. He's actually, his agent is my old agent, and they've that story, he's massive. He's a rock star now. So, I mean, that's stuff that I like to do. Again, my favorite thing is the studio. So to get these guys in the studio to record some stuff is like a dream for me. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun producing. I can just see you're producing all this other stuff too. The producing in business, it just taps into your creative side now.
Right. I mean, look, all of that enables me to do it. I mean, if I didn't have a steady income, and of course the group's out there. I mean, 98 Degrees, we have 40 some dates coming up. This summer.
Do still?
Yeah.
Already this summer?
We've got to come up. We're booked all the way. We're doing weekends all the way until, I think, mid-October. We even have some dates in
Vegas?
February of next year.
Are you booked in Vegas?
We're trying. I mean, I think there's always been the thought of having a residency here, but Vegas is tough. I'm afraid of Vegas. Not afraid for 98 Degrees because there's so much here. I mean, there's so much to do, and there's so much. The political side of marketing, as you know, you need to be in these magazines, right? Yeah. You need to be on the taxi cab tops. You need to be on the hotel room keys. You need to be in the ticket brokers and the timeshares and all that stuff. And look, we feel like we can have a success, but we want to make sure we're setting ourselves up to succeed in the right venue and the right promotion. But we'd love to get off the road and do this. But we're having so much fun now. Two shows a weekend all summer long. We get to be home with our families the other 5 days.
Now, with our families, real quick before we wrap up here, the other guys have got families too?
Yeah. Nick has.
So what's everybody else doing?
Nick's got 3 kids. Drew has 2 kids. Justin's the only one that's still single.
He's a holdout.
He loves the lifestyle too much. But although he does have a girlfriend now, he's had a serious girlfriend for a couple years. She's great. So.
And what are they doing for same as you, producing and creating?
Yeah, I mean everybody does different things. I mean Justin's more on the political side of things.
Okay.
He ran for mayor many years ago in Cincinnati. He's an activist.
Wow.
And then Drew and his wife have a performing arts class that they teach and put on these great, wonderful productions and give back to the community in Cincinnati. And then Nick's still in front of the camera too and does some producing. So he hosts a lot of TV shows. He's about to host Miss USA again this year. So he stays active. Yeah.
Last but not least, charity. Do you have a favorite charity in Vegas?
I do a lot of them. I'm about to do some stuff, hopefully, with St. Jude's Ranch here.
Okay.
Not to be confused with St. Jude's Hospital, which is one of my very favorite charities.
Okay.
But I do a lot of stuff. Elizabeth Glazer, pediatric AIDS. Race to Erase, MS. Autism Speaks. I mean, I try to give back as much as I can. And look, probably not enough. As much as my life's been enriched and I've been fortunate. I feel like it's necessary for me to give back.
Tell me about St. Jude's Ranch and how's that different than St. Jude's?
Well, St. Jude's Ranch is like a place for kids to go and I just met with them. I'm talking about they do like this fashion show that I might be a part of this year if my schedule works out. That they raise money and go perform there and maybe have overnight, do some stuff there. It's nothing solid yet, but that's one locally I'm going to hopefully get into.
Well, man, awesome. Let me ask you one last. Can you do me a favor?
Sure.
What about if now at my Vegas we throw these massive parties where when the magazine comes out. And when yours comes out, could we get you to come and sign autographs?
Oh, I would love to.
Maybe even jump up on the stage and do a couple tunes.
I'll do it. Count me in. Let's
do
it.
A charity
you got to
drive.
sing with me,
We'll do a charity drive for your charity.
Okay, beautiful. I love it. I would love that. Let's do that. Yes,
is that
fantastic.
Deal?
Yes.
All right. So that would be awesome. And then I think that'd be great. And before we go today, can we bark out a tune real quick with "Come and Get It"?
Oh man, you know the words better than I do. I don't even know the words of my own song anymore, and he knows it. Come and get it, girl, don't be shy.
Yo, let me see. Let me get in the mode. Baby, baby, I've been watching you, watching me, secretly sending tender kisses casually across this crowded room. Your man does notice you. I guess that's how it goes. Lady, lady, it seems like he bores you to death. You need to escape. You need to enjoy yourself. Escape his wandering eyes. He doesn't realize you're gonna make.
That's my part.
That's
Yes, he knows the song. I don't know it. Oh my gosh, out of all the songs.
Oh my God.
My face is probably as red as that jug over
Mine too.
Yeah.
So
Awesome, man.
so if you guys need one more guy,
Yeah.
can we call it 99 degrees?
You know, look, you can come in and take my
99
place.
degrees.
After that, you know the
man.
words. I don't.
That's so fun.
Thanks, man. I
Hey,
appreciate
thank you, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having
I
me.
appreciate
man.
you.
I'm on it.
Looking forward to the cover. Now we'll talk more about the pictures and the photo and everything else. And I'm excited. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks again. Good
My
questions,
Vegas.
man. I appreciate it.
Good. Watch for your next cover with the unbelievable Jeff Timmons, 98 degrees.
Thanks, My Vegas.